I still smell the steam from that bathroom every time I close my eyes. It was late, past midnight. The house finally asleep, except for the low hum of the fridge downstairs. Dad had passed out on the couch again, TV flickering some old war movie, and I was supposed to be cramming for midterms. Instead, I stood outside the guest bathroom on the second floor, ear pressed to the door like some idiot kid. Water ran, stopped, ran again. Mom, Elena, was in there. Not my real mom, but the only one I'd ever called that since Dad married her when I was 12. She was 46, maybe 47 now, and I was 22 and still living in the same damn hallway. The knob rattled. I jumped back, heart punching my ribs. She stepped out in an oversized t-shirt, hair twisted up in a knot, skin flushed from the heat. Steam followed her like a secret. She didn't see me at first. She was rubbing lotion into her arms, slow circles, eyes half closed. Then her gaze lifted and locked on mine. Alex. My name came out soft, surprised, not angry. You're up late. I opened my mouth. Nothing came. My backpack strap slid off my shoulder and hit the floor with a thud that sounded criminal in the quiet. She glanced at it, then at me, and her fingers slowed on her wrist. Couldn't sleep. I managed. My voice cracked like I was 15 again. Heard the water. Thought maybe the pipe was acting up. A small lie. The pipe was fine. I'd been listening for her routine. Shower at 11:30, tea after, light off by 12:15. I knew because I counted the minutes like a creep. She smiled, tired but real, the kind that reached the corners of her eyes. It's old plumbing. Makes more noise than trouble. She tucked a loose strand behind her ear, and the motion lifted the hem of the shirt just enough to show the edge of a scar on her thigh. Pale, thin from some surgery years before I lived here. I'd never seen it before. My stomach flipped. I should have said goodnight. Should have grabbed my bag and bolted. Instead, I stayed rooted, palms sweaty, staring at the tiny freckle just above her knee. She noticed, of course she did, and tugged the shirt down, but not fast enough. Color rose in her cheeks, faint, matching mine. You okay? She asked, stepping closer. The hallway light caught the damp ends of her hair, turning them gold. She smelled like eucalyptus and something warmer I couldn't name. Yeah, I swallowed. Long week. Her hand lifted, hesitated, then settled on my forearm. Light, like she was testing temperature. You've been carrying too much. School, your dad's hours, all of it. Her thumb brushed once, twice, over the sleeve of my hoodie. Come downstairs. I'll make you that awful chamomile you pretend to like. I laughed. A short huff that surprised us both. It's not awful. Liar. She started walking, expecting me to follow. I did, barefoot on the cold wood, pulse loud in my ears. Halfway down the stairs, she paused, looked back. Bring your laptop. We'll find that study playlist you lost. I nodded, mute. At the bottom step, she stopped again, closer now, the heat from her shower still clinging to her skin. Our shadows overlapped on the wall, one tall, one softer, and for a second neither of us moved. Her eyes searched mine, something unreadable flickering there. Not pity, not quite worry. The doorbell rang, sharp and sudden, slicing the air between us. Midnight on a Tuesday. Who the hell? Elena's hand dropped from my arm like it burned. She glanced toward the front door, then back at me, lips parted. Stay here, she whispered, already moving. The bell rang again, longer this time. Elena's shoulders stiffened. She pressed a finger to her lips, then padded to the peephole. I stayed on the stairs, laptop clutched like a shield. It's just the neighbor, she mouthed, exhaling. Forgot his key again. She cracked the door, murmured something, handed over a spare. The chain stayed on. When she turned back, the flush on her cheeks had faded to something paler. Sorry, she said, locking up. Thought it might be your husband? I finished before I could stop myself. She flinched, just a flicker. He's on graveyard shifts at the plant. Won't be home till 6. She rubbed her arms, the same slow circles from upstairs. Come on. There. I followed her into the kitchen. The overhead light was off. Only the stove hood glowed, soft and yellow. She filled the kettle, movements precise like she was counting seconds. I set the laptop on the island, opened it, closed it again. You don't have to babysit me, I said. I'm not. Water hissed into the pot. You look like you're drowning. I laughed, too sharp. Midterms. It's not midterms. She faced me, back against the counter. You've been quiet for weeks. Ever since, she stopped, bit her lip. Ever since what? She glanced at the framed wedding photo on the fridge, Dad in a cheap tux, her in a simple dress, both of them younger than I felt right now. Since you came home for break and found the house smaller than you remembered. I swallowed. She wasn't wrong. I'd expected distance, not this. Her moving through rooms like she belonged to them, like she'd always been here. Dad had married her when I was away at school. I came back to a stepmom who cooked better than he did and laughed at jokes he never made. I hated how easy it was to need her around. I'm fine, Elite. You're not. She stepped closer, close enough that the steam from the kettle curled between us. You used to talk to me. About everything. Girls, music, that awful professor who graded like a sadist. Her voice dropped. Then you stopped. I stared at the floor. Things change. Not everything. Her hand lifted, hovered near my cheek, then settled on the counter instead. I miss my friend. The word friend hit like a slap and a hug at once. I want to tell her I missed her too, but not like that. Not only like that. I wanted to say I'd memorized the way she hummed while folding laundry, how her laugh cracked open something in my chest I didn't know was locked. Instead, I said, I'm still here. The kettle clicked off. Silence rushed in. She poured water over the chamomile, steam fogging her glasses. I watched her fingers tremble just once. My first marriage ended because I stopped talking, she said suddenly, not looking at me. He said I lived in my head. Maybe he was right. She slid a mug across the island. Our knuckles brushed, hers cool, mine burning. Neither of us pulled away. I wrapped both hands around the ceramic, grounding myself. Dad talks enough for both of you. She gave a soft huff. He talks at me. Her eyes met mine, steady now. You listen. The air thickened, warm and dangerous. I felt the years between us like a live wire. 22 and 22 again, 46 and suddenly not. Her wedding ring glinted under the light, a quiet accusation. I set the mug down, untouched. My pinky stayed against hers on the counter, deliberate this time. She didn't move. The clock above the stove ticked once, twice. Somewhere upstairs a pipe groaned. Her thumb shifted, tracing the ridge of my knuckle, so light I might have imagined it. Then she leaned in, forehead almost touching mine, breath mingling with chamomile and want. Alex, she whispered, my name a question and an answer. I closed the inch between us. Our lips didn't meet, just rested, suspended, the smallest distance humming with everything we hadn't said. Her exhale shook against my mouth. The fridge motor kicked on, loud as gunfire. We sprang apart, mugs clinking. She pressed a hand to her chest, eyes wide, wedding ring catching the light again. I couldn't breathe. She couldn't either. The front door slammed at 3:17 a.m. Dad's key scraping like a warning. Elena's hand jerked from my face. The spell snapped. We scattered to opposite sides of the island, hearts jackhammering loud enough to wake the dead. Footsteps on the stairs, heavy, uneven. Elena. His voice thick with sleep and the plant's metal dust. Kitchen, she called back, too bright. She grabbed a dish towel, wiped nothing, then shoved the chamomile box into the cabinet. I snatched my laptop, fumbled the lid shut. Dad appeared in the doorway, tie crooked, eyes bloodshot. He blinked at me, then her. Thought you were asleep. Couldn't, she said. Alex needed study help. The lie slid out smooth, practiced. She didn't look at me. Dad grunted, opened the fridge, chugged orange juice from the carton. Kid's 22. Shouldn't need bedtime stories. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, stared at the 2 mugs on the counter. 2 cups. Mine's cold, I said too fast. Reheated hers. He shrugged, already turning. Lock up when you're done. His boots thudded back upstairs. The second his door clicked, Elena's knees buckled. She caught the counter, knuckles white. Go, she whispered. Please. I didn't move. Elena, now. Her voice cracked like ice. I grabbed my bag, took the stairs 2 at a time. At the landing, I paused, her silhouette still in the kitchen glow, arms wrapped around herself. I wanted to run back, but the floorboard under my foot squeaked. She looked up, our eyes locked across the dark. She shook her head once, sharp. In my room, I shoved the desk chair under the knob, paced until dawn. Every creak in the house sounded like footsteps. My phone buzzed, unknown number. A photo, the 2 mugs side by side, steam curling like smoke. No option, just the timestamp, 3:09 a.m. I stared until the screen dimmed. Someone had been downstairs. Someone had seen. Morning came gray. Dad left for another double shift without a word. I found Elena in the laundry room, folding my t-shirts like nothing happened. Her hand shook, a sock dropped. I picked it up. Our fingers brushed, electric. She pulled away first. "Delete the photo," she said to the dryer. "I don't know who sent it." Then we stop. She folded faster, creases sharp enough to cut. "This ends before it starts." I stepped closer. It already started. She spun, eyes wet. "He's your father. And you're—" I stopped. The word wife stuck in my throat. Her laugh was bitter. "Exactly." She pushed past me, but at the doorway she paused, back to me. "Meet me at the park bench. 4 o'clock. We finished this conversation where no one can hide." She left the sock in my hand, damp from her grip. I crushed it, pulse racing. The washer clicked in a spin cycle, loud, relentless, drowning everything but the countdown in my head. The park bench was damp, sky the color of old nickels. Elena was already there, coat collar up, hands buried in pockets. She didn't stand when I approached. Just stare at the empty swing, set creaking in the wind. "You set too close." Our knees didn't touch, but the space between them crackled. "Show me the photo," she said. I pulled it up. Same 2 mugs. Same steam. Same lie. She zoomed in, breath hitching. "That's my phone case in the corner. I left it on the counter." Her voice thinned. "Someone was in the house." "Dad." "He was at work." She scrolled to the timestamp again, thumb trembling. "Unless he came home early. Unless he stopped." I closed the screen. "We don't know." She laughed, a broken sound. "We know enough." She finally looked at me. Eyes red-rimmed, makeup smudged. "I woke up at 2:30. You were gone." I went downstairs to lock the door and she swallowed. The backslider was open. Just an inch. I thought it was the wind. My stomach dropped. "You didn't tell me." I thought I was paranoid. She hugged herself tighter. "Now I think someone's playing with us." A jogger passed, earbuds in, oblivious. The swing chains clinked like bones. I leaned in, voice low. "Then we end it. Right now. I'll delete everything. We pretend." "No," the word cracked out of her. She turned, grabbed my jacket collar, knuckles white. "I can't pretend anymore. I count the hours until he leaves for work. I rehearse conversations in the shower, so I don't say your name out loud." Her voice broke. "I hate myself for it." The confession hung between us, raw and bleeding. I covered her hands with mine. "I dream about you in that hallway. Every night. The scar on your leg. The way you said my name like it hurt." My throat closed. "I'm drowning, Elena." Her eyes searched mine, frantic. "We're poison." "Maybe." I slid my thumb across her wrist, felt her pulse race. "But I'd drink it." She made a sound, half sob, half laugh, and leaned forward until our foreheads touched. Breath mingled, shaky. The world narrowed to the inch between our mouths. "Tell me to stop," I whispered. She didn't. Her lips brushed mine, featherlight, testing. Once, twice. Then the swing set squealed louder, wind picking up. She pulled back an inch, eyes wide, terrified. Headlights swept the path. A familiar truck idled at the curb, Dad's. Door schlemmed. Boots on gravel. Elena froze. I froze. He was coming. Dad's boots crunched closer. Elena's hand slipped from my collar like I'd burned her. She stood, smoothing her coat, eyes darting to the truck. "Go," she hissed. Path behind the trees. Now. I didn't move. Couldn't. Dad rounded the hedge, face half lit by the street lamp. He stopped 10 feet away, hands in his pockets, staring at us like he'd caught us robbing a grave. "Thought I'd find you here," he said. Voice flat. Tired. Not angry, worse. Elena stepped forward. "You're early." Shift ended. He looked at me. "Get in the truck, Alex." I stayed seated. "We're talking." Dad's laugh was a cough. "Talking." He pulled out his phone, thumbed the screen. Held it up. The photo, the mugs, glowed between us. "This what you're talking about?" Elena's breath caught. "Where did you—" "Found on the counter this morning." "Thought it was yours." He turned the phone so I could see the sender, my number. My stomach bottomed out. "I didn't send that," I said. Dad's eyes narrowed. "Then who did?" Silence. Wind rattled the swings. Elena's voice came small. "It was me." Dad blinked. I blinked. She wouldn't look at either of us. I took the picture, set the timer, left the slider open so you'd come home early. Her hands twisted in her coat pockets. "I wanted you to see." Dad's face went slack. "Why?" "Because I'm leaving." The words fell like stones. "I packed a bag last night. It's in the trunk of my car." She finally met his eyes. I'm done pretending this marriage works. Dad swayed like he'd been punched. You staged this? With him? No, she glanced at me, quick, guilty. I staged a photo. The rest. Her voice cracked. The rest just happened. I stood, legs numb. You used me. I protected you, she snapped. If he thought it was mutual, he'd have killed you. This way it's my fault. All of it. Tears streaked her cheeks. I'm sorry. Dad's phone slipped from his hand, cracked on the path. He didn't bend to pick it up, just stared at her like she was a stranger wearing his wife's face. Get in the truck, he said again, quieter. To me. I looked at Elena. She was shaking, coat collar soaked with tears. The woman who'd traced my knuckle 12 hours ago was gone. In her place, someone choosing the mess she'd made. I'm not going, I said. Dad's jaw clenched. Then walk. He turned, boots grinding gravel, got in the truck. Engine roared. Headlights pinned us for a second. 2 deer in crosshairs, then swung away. Taillights disappeared around the corner. Elena sank to the bench, elbows on knees, face in her hands. I didn't want you to find out like this. Istut oaher, tist kiving. You lied to both of us. I lied to keep you breathing. She looked up, mascara streaked. I'm still leaving. Tonight. Alone. She reached into her pocket, pulled out a key, the house key, pressed it into my palm. Lock up when you go. Leave it under the mat. The metal was warm from her hand. I closed my fist around it. She stood, wiped her face with her sleeve. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him. Her voice broke. Tell him I tried. Then she walked to her car, got in, and drove away without looking back. I stayed on the bench until the streetlights buzzed off at dawn, key cutting into my palm. The key was still in my fist when I got to the house. Dawn bled gray through the windows, the place already hollow. Dad's boots sat crooked by the door, his lunchbox open on the counter, sandwich half made. He hadn't come home. I found him on the back porch, staring at the yard like it owed him money. Bottle of bourbon between his feet, 2 glasses poured. One empty, one waiting. He didn't look up. Seat. I did. The boards were cold. He slid the full glass toward me. I took it, didn't drink. She's gone, he said. Not a question. Yeah. He nodded once, slow. Called the plant. Told him I was sick. A humorless laugh. First time in 15 years. Silence stretched, thick as the bourbon. A dog barked 2 streets over. I knew, he said finally. Not the picture. Not you. Just knew she was leaving. Been knowing. He rubbed a hand over his face. She stopped saying my name in her sleep last year. Started saying yours. My lungs stopped working. He looked at me then, eyes bloodshot, older than I'd ever seen. You love her? I couldn't speak. Nodded. He exhaled through his teeth. Then go get her, kid, before she disappears for good. I stood so fast the chair scraped. You're not. Stopping you. He shook his head. I'm done holding on to ghosts. He lifted the empty glass, toasted the dark. She was never mine to keep. I was already moving. Her car was still in the motel lot off Route 9. Faded blue sedan, trunk cracked open, duffel half out. She sat on the curb, knees to chest, cigarette burning between her fingers though she didn't smoke. I parked crooked, åkte over. She didn't flinch when my shadow fell across her. I thought you'd hate me, she said to the asphalt. I should. She looked up, eyes swollen, lipstick chewed off. I lied to save you. You lied to save yourself. She flinched. Yes. I crouched, took the cigarette, crushed it under my shoe. Dad knows. He'll let me go. Her breath hitched. He'll never forgive. He already did. I pulled the house key from my pocket, held it out. Come home. She stared at it like it might bite. I don't have a home. You do. I pressed the key into her palm, closed her fingers over it. It's wherever we stop running. She laughed, wet, broken. You're 22. And you're 46. Math never scared me. She stood, shaky. I stood with her. The duffel stayed on the curb. I'm terrified, she whispered. Me too. She stepped into me, forehead to my chest. I wrapped my arms around her, tight, like letting go would unravel everything. She smelled like smoke and cold air and Elena. I don't know how to do this, she said against my shirt. We'll be terrible at it. Together. She pulled back just enough to look up. Kiss me like you mean it this time. I did. No hosetaschen. No audience. Just her mouth, my hands in her hair. The world narrowing to the taste of salt and chamomile and second chances. When we broke apart, the sun was up. The duffel still sat abandoned. She kept the key. We drove back in my truck, her hand on my thigh, my heart loud enough to drown the engine. The house waited, empty, quiet, ours to fill or leave behind. We hadn't decided yet. We didn't move back into the house right away. Dad had already packed the master bedroom in boxes labeled donate and keep, like he was erasing a life he'd never really lived. He left the porch light on, the key under the mat, and a note on the counter. Take what you need. I'm staying at the motel till the lease is up. No rush. Elena read it twice, folded it small, and slipped it into her pocket. She didn't cry. I think we were both cried out. We took the truck and drove north until the radio only caught static. I keep waiting for the guilt to hit, she said. It will, I told her. But not tonight. It came in waves. Mornings she'd wake gasping, reaching for a ring that wasn't there. I'd hold her until her breathing slowed. Some afternoons I'd stare at the lake and see Dad's face in the ripples. Older, sadder, but not broken. I call him once. He answered on the third ring. You good? He asked. Yeah. Yeah. Silence. Then, tell her the coffee's still shit without her. I laughed. He hung up. Weeks blurred. We learned the cabin's creaks, the exact minute the sun hit the porch, how to make love quiet so the walls wouldn't gossip. Elena started painting again, oils on canvas scraps, colors thick and angry at first, then softer. I fixed the stove, chopped wood applied for remote classes. We weren't hiding. We were building. One evening, rain drumming the tin roof, she handed me a small box. Inside, 2 plain silver bands, scratched and secondhand. I'm not asking for forever, she said. Just today. And tomorrow. We'll keep choosing. I slipped one on her finger. She slipped the other on mine. No vows. Just the rain and the rings and the quiet click of something settling into place. Dad visited once. Stayed 2 hours, drank 1 beer, left a bag of Elena's old art supplies on the step. Didn't come inside. Waved from the truck and drove off. That was enough. We still fight. About money, about whose turn it is to check the mail, about whether chamomile is actually tea. We still flinch when a car backfires. But we wake up tangled, breathe the same air, and choose again. The lake's frozen now. We skate in circles, her hand in mine, scars whipping like flags. She laughs when I fall. I laugh when she does. The raccoons still steal our bread. This isn't the ending anyone planned. It's messy, borrowed ours. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?